Hello, this is Dan, and this is the ENFP Reboot, day 17 of 30. If you're new here, if you're tuning in for the first time, do check out the full ENFP Reboot playlist, publishing a new video every day for the month of April, helping ENFPs, and yes, I know some of you INFPs are watching, and that's totally okay too, helping you reboot, and we're covering topics like motivation, productivity, mindset, confidence, etc. And the topic today is one of those ones that I need a big reminder of. I told you at the beginning of the reboot that part of doing this was to help me get back on track. That some of the things that I've learned in the past that have worked really well for me, I haven't been doing. That some of the tools or strategies that help me publish books or launch a program or publish consistently on YouTube, I stopped doing for a variety of reasons. Sometimes just because things were working really well. And then I thought, hey, why, I don't need to keep doing all this, be so strict on myself or whatever. And then I got rid of these good routines and then things didn't work as well. And one of those big ones, this is what today's about, is disconnecting and having focus deep work blocks. Now, this was working extremely well for me way before that deep work book came out. I don't know what you called it before the book. They put their name on it, but it was basically doing important work. I often call this proactive work, if you saw my video on being proactive versus reactive. And for most periods of my working life, I would go and work without a cell phone, or at the very least it would be on airplane mode, but I would usually leave it at home. In fact, there was a time when I was working where the first time I would check my email or social media would be at 7 p.m., right before leaving the office. Not surprisingly, that was the same period when I launched my coaching business, launched a 15-part email training, and published 2 books in a period of 6 months. So, I wonder if there was any merit to that strategy. I am not doing that now. I'm checking my phone in the morning. I am not setting aside dedicated focus time, and it has not been working well at all. And we know why that happens, of course, right? On one hand, there's the obvious reasons that checking your phone first thing in the day is bad for you. You get a message from someone like with a, hey, do you want to go on a trip in a month? Or, hey, you owe me $45 for this thing. And you're like, is it 45 or 25? I don't know. I have to check my bank statement. And then you're checking your bank statement. And then your login needs a new password suddenly. And then 20 minutes have went by, and why are you doing this first thing in the morning? That's not what you're supposed to do. My point is, once you open your phone, you open yourself up to all sorts of distractions. Same thing goes with email, social media, etc., even if it's on a computer or iPad or whatever, but phones tend to be the worst. We have many excuses now, and I would argue that the devices perhaps, I'm not saying they've been strategically built to ruin our lives, but the devices are built with the assumption that the majority of users will have them on them 24/7 and will always be on. I will not be surprised if some point soon they disable airplane mode. And it's just like, no, if you want a phone, your phone always has to be on. There's no turning it off. So this creates problems because you might say, hey, I don't really want to be checking my messages, but I need my phone for maps to find, get to work. And if you still need Google Maps, get to work and you work in the same place every day, I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation on how we don't have a sense of direction anymore. But my point is, we always have these excuses to need to use our phone, right? But what is the downside? I mean, you always have to weigh the downside to doing something with the benefits. So, for example, if I have my phone, it can tell me about traffic and I might save 10 minutes on my commute. Okay. But what is the downside to perhaps getting distracted by messages and not using that time in a more productive way? The commute thing doesn't necessarily work. This example's falling apart. Okay. I'll think of a better example and come back around to it, or try to come back around to it. The main point here is there's pros and cons to having your phone on, right? So if you don't have your phone, people can't message you. So you might miss out on some exciting plans. That sucks, right? If your friends are like, hey, we're going on this trip last minute, do you want to come? And you miss that. Not great. On the other hand, because you're not distracted, you might finish a book or write a symphony or a play or a movie script or, start your business or actually spend time with your family. Any number of positive things. So what are the odds that you miss something really important? 1 in 10, 1 in 100, 1 in 200? Probably not that often. And yet, if you're on your phone and constantly distracted, what are the odds you miss out on doing something important? Well, it might be 100%, where you're not actually as focused and committed as you otherwise would be. For myself, I see a huge downside, and perhaps I have a more addictive personality than many, perhaps because I'm an extrovert and usually living alone and traveling, that I'm more likely to get into messages and sort of get distracted having conversations with people. Who knows? But what I'm committing to now, my way to be more productive, and so what I'm going to start doing from Monday, and if you want to take a lesson from this and implement something like this for yourself, I would definitely encourage it. Number one is anything I need to do that is digital let's step back. Number one is I will not have my phone on until well into the afternoon. I'm going to say 3 p.m. Okay, so that is the time we're setting. So for the rest of this month, at the very least, is going to be 3 p.m. The only exception being, I guess, when I have to catch a train at noon, and perhaps on weekends we'll make it noon. So let's say that. Noon on weekends, 3 p.m. on work days, and that. And that means I will spend the time in the morning doing productive things. In this case, it's primarily working on a book. And so the time will be spent on that. And you might say, but what if you need your phone? What if... that's where rule number 2 comes in. And this is very important if you want to follow this. Because I'll tell you, I told you the last time I disconnected for a lot of my days how productive things were. This can be very life-changing. So one of the keys to implementing it is that you have to anticipate things you will need. So, for example, I think a phone in airplane mode offline is fine. So you can download Google Maps, you can download the city map without internet. So I'm here in Madrid. I've only been here a couple days. I don't fully know my way around. I'm pretty sure I could find my way back to my apartment here, no problem. But I will have some kind of phone with me, maybe an old phone. I have like a secondary phone that has no internet access, but has offline Google Maps to help me get back if needed, and have music because I like to listen to music when I'm editing, writing, and I actually have the book printed out on paper. So I'm not actually editing on the computer, I'm going through paper. The other thing I need to anticipate is these videos because they need to be published. And so it's not a good situation for me to need to wake up and film them the morning of. So instead I will be ensuring, like today I'm filming this actually Sunday evening and it will be published Monday morning. So anticipating what I need to do. So it means everything for our wonderful ENFP reboot will be done the night before. Any questions my team has for me or that, we've got to do the night before. I'm going to let them know, I'm not available during these times. So whatever you need before, ask me before. Just assume that, you can't get hold of me. And, anything else, right? Just to anticipate. It's different for everyone's life. And I get it. Some people have kids. Cool. You know what? You can get a second phone for super cheap with no internet that people can call if there's an emergency. But I'm not selling anyone on this necessarily. But I know for me, it makes a massive difference. And I know right now that the distraction from my phone, from getting looped into things, starting to watch something, etc., is really significant and can pull me away from what is most important. Do I know that telling you this may hurt the views on these videos for the rest of the month? Maybe. But maybe you'll be so grateful for this advice when you implement it and see the impact it has on your life that you will set an alarm to tune in to the Dreams Around the World YouTube channel each evening, maybe before dinner or before bed, and watch that day's video to show your support. If you have any questions about that, about how to do this, let me know in the comments. Not how to watch these videos, although you can ask me that too, but how to actually go phone free for a part of the day or all day. I used to often do Sundays with no phone at all. And what that means is the phone gets turned off Saturday night and it gets turned back on Monday morning. I've figured out just about anything you would need, and it's completely doable. I know it seems at first, how could I live without my phone? It's very doable, and when you do it, it's extremely liberating. It reduces your anxiety. I actually find when I do dopamine detox days with no electronics, I relax so much because I just I don't have to think about someone getting a hold of me or things I need to do. It's extremely relaxing, great for anxiety, great for productivity, and it really helps eliminate addictions and helps you focus on what's really important. So any questions on how to do it, I won't make fun of you, I promise. Ask me the practical questions in the comments and I can tell you solutions I have figured out. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for the next video in the ENFP Reboot series.